Welcome to Food Fusion. I'm Charles Matheson. In this podcast, I bring you the world of food, lifestyle, and travel. So, I'm going to say what's there for me. And if you've been following my podcast for the last 2 full years, this is my first episode of full season. It's been a minute that I've made a podcast, but I'm back. And so this theme for this podcast is it takes as long as it takes. And it comes from a book that I have been reading called 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. It's basically about that the average lifespan of a person, which is 4,000 weeks. And the book discusses how society pushes constant productivity, rushing to be productive, and how that can actually disconnect people from what they truly want. And so that's kind of me always looking to be productive, get more in. And I noticed that for me, there's no such thing as more productivity because as I get more productive, I take on more things. And I'm seeing that. And so it takes as long as it takes is the theme for this podcast and likely for the next few that I'm going to be doing because sometimes things just take a while. Things just take a while. And so there've been some updates. So first update is a new job and I am now the educational supervisor of a high school. That's basically an assistant principal. And it's been a very steep learning curve. I had to make new systems, I had to make new routines, new workflows. And because of this, my cooking became very repetitive. I was making the same meals over and over. Creativity was very limited. And I was cooking only for functionality. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes life just lifes. And you have to make things work as they are. And so while I was like in this period, I still was committed to cooking regularly for myself. And then what got me back on track, I'd say maybe 5 months ago, I was speaking with my sister, and she stated that she wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I thought that was just like nuts. And then I read a book by Ali Abdaal, is a great author. And the book is called Feel Good Productivity. And one thing that he mentions is that once he's tapped out, he stops. And he'd rather work when he's wide awake than when he's tired because the quality of the work just goes down. So I've done that. And I've been waking up between 3:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. for the last 3 months. And so that has really been a game changer for me. So now I do a lot of my cooking when I wake up. So I will cook my chicken, my fish, 3:30 in the morning, and it's great because it's calm, it's quiet, I'm awake, I'm not doing it while I'm tired, and it really helps me just to really focus on the food that I'm making. It gives me a sense of control before my day begins. It helps me to connect. Like I love cooking, and it's like it's when you really think about cooking, it's an intimate thing because you're preparing your nourishment. You're preparing what's going to be going in your mouth. I don't think there's anything more intimate than eating. And when I say intimate, I'm talking about like that we do other than sex, obviously. Like you're putting something in your mouth, like that's the ultimate sense of trust. And so food for me is around just me. I get connected to my to myself, to my sense of trust. And so I've through this transition time, I guess I've gone through survival cooking. And my survival has really been around sauces, and sauces have always played a central theme in my cooking. And why I love sauces is because they're flavorful, efficient, they're already made, and low effort. Like I'm all about less work. And when cooking with sauces, I have learned even more so now because my time is even more limited is to marinate my meats, my fish ahead of time so that the flavor can penetrate. So it's not just fast cooking, it's also flavorful cooking because the sauce needs time to marinate and to go into the food that you're eating so that it'll become an experience in the mouth. A couple of sauces that I've been using during this time of transition is tamarind sauce. And so you can buy um, tamarind sauce in supermarkets now. It's pretty widely available, or you can get it on Amazon. And I come from a West Indian background. My parents are from Jamaica, and so I grew up with tamarind. Usually, I would have these tamarind balls. So tamarind is very, very sour, and it would be wrapped up in sugar. And so I've always been around it, but I never really cooked with it. And I really love Thai cuisine. And so tamarind is used quite a bit in Thai cooking. And so one sauce that I've made recently in quite a bit actually is a tamarind sauce for for protein like chicken or shrimp, and it's really really simple. You get some tamarind concentrate, some soy sauce, some fish sauce, brown sugar, lime juice, some sesame oil, and you mix it. Then you get your protein, and you can actually just put some salt, a little bit of salt. That's all you really need. It's really very simple. And so you cook your shrimp or your fish in some vegetable oil. You put some salt on it, and then it's you grill it. It's actually best to grill the the protein, and then once it's grilled, you put the tamarind sauce on it with some lo mein noodles, and you have a really great tamarind lo mein with your protein. So just try that out and see for yourself. Like what I really like about tamarind is that it's very sour, and you have to add sugar to it. The sugar is really what gives it the depth, and you get a lot of complexity without much effort. Another sauce is Chinese garlic sauce. You can get these in the supermarket, or some you can go to Chinatown if you have one in your community. And it's a really bold, savory sauce. And this sauce needs to be marinated. Your protein needs to be marinated when you use this. It's very, very strong, and food just protein takes time to marinate, So if you're going to use a sauce like Chinese garlic sauce, you want to have your meat, take it out the day before, then have it marinate for a day in the refrigerator, and then you make it for the next day and allow that flavor to really absorb the protein and penetrate it. Another sauce I've been using for years now, but more so recently, are Thai curry sauces like red curry and green curry. The flavor profile, they're very spicy. They can be sweet when you add sugar to it. I usually add sugar to it. It's salty, it's aromatic. And one way I usually prepare my curries is with curry paste. You can get it in a plastic in a plastic container with coconut milk, sugar, and then you just make that mixture, and then you can add your vegetables or your protein to it. And what I usually do is I cook the protein or roast the vegetables separately, and then I add it to the curry paste liquid, and then I just add it to a pan and let the green curry just be absorbed into the protein for about maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and I combine it with rice, and it's really just delicious. There's so many ways to use the green curry. Also, you could just put it directly on the meat, and then you can grill it, and it's just amazing. You want to be very careful though, because it is very, very salty. So you see that you can use sauces and you really don't have to do much work, and you really can get the flavor profiles that you seek if you're a person like me that likes to have different flavors in their mouth and explore the world of flavors. And finally, the world of freshness. I'm always about adding some sort of freshness to my meals. For me, a meal is not complete without something fresh, like a salad. And so I've rediscovered tomatoes and grape tomatoes. And what I like about grape tomatoes is that they're small. All you got to do is cut them in half, or not even cut them in half. You just eat them whole like grapes. And so a whole tomato for me can just feel like too much work sometimes. And so why grape tomatoes work for me is because they're convenient, they're fresh, they're easy to throw into meals, instant brightness, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And like sometimes freshness doesn't require complexity, making salads with blue cheese and arugula and all these other things. Sometimes a salad can just be one thing, just your grape tomato or just a plum tomato. So, one way that I have been incorporating tomatoes, if I'm having a steak, I'll just cut a actually not grape tomato, I'll actually use beef steak tomato and cut some slices, and then I'll put some olive oil on the tomato and some salt, and with my steak, oh my god, totally amazing. If I'm having some pasta with some pasta sauce, I'll add fresh tomatoes with the pasta sauce. I'm telling you, it's a whole nother different experience when you eat pasta sauce with fresh tomato. It's actually more filling, and the flavor profile is just very, very different. So I definitely recommend trying out some grape tomatoes and seeing what you can come up with. And they're so versatile. Just take my advice and try that. So to wrap up, it takes as long as it takes. It takes as long as it takes to make your meal, to find out what works for you in the season that you're in, to build your system, whether it's work, whether it's the time you cook. Like for me, it's in the early morning now. And it takes how long it takes to rediscover your creativity. So you don't have to do everything perfectly or immediately. Food can remain a grounding ritual during demanding seasons of life, and cooking really helps to keep me sane and connected. So, this is Charles Matheson. That's it for today's episode. If you like Food Fusion, please subscribe, share, hit the like button wherever you're listening to this, and I'll see you next time.